It's about 7:05, October 2nd. I have 5 years of history with a 190-inch buck. I just smoked him. He's never been this big. He's never been this big. This is his biggest year. He's at least 8.5 years old. Look at that rack. Look at the cage on this thing.
Well, here we are. It's the middle of February. Today we've got a special guest here at Midwest Whitetail. We've got Mike Versland. Mike's from Cottage Grove, Minnesota. This past year, in the beginning of October, he was fortunate enough to shoot quite a big buck. Wasn't he big?
Definitely was.
What did he come out to be?
It was 198 and 4/8.
And that's the official score.
That's the official score.
Yeah, the story broke it came out maybe mid-October, early October. And I remember seeing the story in the papers, and I actually, I think I read it multiple places, and then sure enough, the internet chat forums started going. And every year here in Minnesota, we see a lot of big deer hit the ground. But this story, I think, stood out among all of them to me just because of the history he has with this deer. This deer isn't a deer that just happened to walk by his stand. This is a deer that he's been hunting and watching for quite a while. So we got Mike here. I'm going to let him tell his story, and let's start at the beginning.
First year that I actually started chasing this deer was 2007. I was actually just walking about this time of year. It was mid-January, early February. I was walking along a property line and happened to see a couple nice bucks get up, and I just decided then, I didn't know how big they were. They were nice deer, and I figured I'd just come back and look for their antlers in March. And when I did, that's when I first discovered this buck.
Okay.
Happened to step over a log, and his antler was laying there from that year, and I didn't know what to do at first.
Yeah.
It was much bigger than anything I'd picked up before.
So this one right here, and this one right here, this will be the match from 2007.
Yes.
Okay. So he was sporting this season 2006.
Yes.
Wow. Nice deer. So that's 2007. So obviously did you see him over the summer?
I was hoping to, actually. I bought a video camera and bought a trail camera, set up the trail camera. Never got a picture of him.
Okay.
Wasn't quite sure exactly where he was, but I decided that season I wasn't going to shoot anything else. So I had run into a couple other nice bucks and passed on those, and hoping that this guy would eventually come in. But at the time the season ended, I had no idea where he was.
At the end of 2007 season?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had waited all season for him and came up short.
So you found the antlers in 2007, didn't see them all 2007, summer, fall, end of season, no clue he's still around.
Nope, I had no idea if he was there.
Okay.
So
what's the next step of the story?
Well, then I got to March 2008, and my first antler in that area again was this one. And it was actually at that point that when I picked this antler up that I realized I had seen him, because it was early November of 2007 that I had a really big, roughly 180-inch 10-point come under me. And I was looking for those split G2s. I figured he had those splits and he wouldn't lose them. So
Yeah.
looking for that, when I saw this come in, I was like, well, that's not him. So as soon as I picked this antler up in March, I knew that I actually had him under me in November. So that kind of gave me a big clue as to where he was hanging out.
Yeah. One of the reasons I wanted you to come here today, one of the reasons I wanted to make this show was because I think every hunter out there can learn a lot from this story. Right now it's the middle of February. We're right on the verge of shed hunting season, and that's where this hunt really started.
Yeah, definitely.
You
You
never knew he was there until you found the shed.
That's right.
So, I mean, how do you feel about shed hunting? I mean,
I'm very passionate about it now. I mean, I just got started. This is this will be my 5th year this year. So almost all of my shed hunting career has been really for this deer. As soon as I got started, I was on him, and there's no way I could have done it without not only located him, but to keep up with him year after year and to know where he was going. Shed antlers were the biggest clue every time.
Okay, so this is 2009. You got some more sheds. You know this deer's still alive. Preparation. What did you do during the summer? I mean, did you prep for this deer somehow? I mean,
I waited all summer for more pictures, hoping to get proof that he was there again, and figuring that I got so many pictures of him during 2008 that I would get more. I didn't get any. I had no idea if he was still alive. Wow. So
Not a single picture all summer long.
nothing. So I
Kind of makes
was,
your heart drop a little bit.
I was anxious. Yeah, I was.
Where is he?
Yeah, I was worried.
Yeah.
But then I went out the week before season, and I had one branch to clear that I wanted out of my way, so I'd get a nice clear shot. And as I was trimming that branch, when the branch fell, I looked down at a tree underneath my stand, and there was a rub on a tree that I've never seen a rub that big before.
Okay.
So that was my first little glimmer of hope
Yeah.
that he's still out there. So.
Nice. And that was right before the season started.
Yep, that was 1 week before the season started.
Okay, so the season opened in 2009. I think it was September 19th. Is that right?
Yes.
And you shot this deer October 2nd.
Yep.
So talk about that, less than a month there.
Well, at least the first week was hot.
Yep,
It was.
I remember that.
I didn't want to go out because I figured I would sweat walking, and I didn't have a far walk, but
Yeah.
I just didn't want to get in there and mess it up. So I waited till it cooled off, and it was September 30th, the first time I went out there.
First time in the woods.
Yeah, for that stand. I had hunted some other stands and
Yep.
shot a doe and stuff earlier in another spot, but in this spot I got out. I didn't get out there till September 30th.
Okay.
And once I got in the stand, I was actually watching some deer move around, and I saw a deer walking across the backside of this cattail swamp. So I quick grabbed my binoculars, looked up, and what I'd actually seen was his antlers going over the cattails. It was not a deer. I thought his rack was a deer. So I got just stoked that he's actually alive because I had no history of him at all this year. So then I watched him, and I watched him trot down across this trail right where I'd found his antlers this past winter, and he went up into this piece. So I quick got down, got out of there. Yesterday was blowing and raining, the wind was wrong, so I went and talked to the other landowner on the other side. He's actually a brother to the guy that lets me hunt here. Got up there, he said I could hunt, so I said, well, I'm going to try to be back tomorrow. So today on Friday, I've been just a absolute nut all day because the wind was right, and I knew my odds of killing him were much better than they've ever been. I got in there, put up my goofy stand. The tree is just screwy, so I had to put the steps and ladders in different ways. Got up there, I got to be close to 26 feet to the bottom of the stand. Anyway, 26 feet up to the bottom of the stand. I got up there, a little bit windy, I'm blowing around a little bit, but was watching a couple does. I think at 6:13 I saw the first doe. She disappeared. About 6:30 I saw another doe, and she was actually coming back toward me, and then the two met up. The one, I don't know where the other one came from. They were both just standing there, but they were looking at something in the brush, and they just kept looking in the cattails, trying to figure out. So I'm watching, and all of a sudden I just see the rack, just, and I was like, oh, there he is. I thought for sure he was going to come this way, because the wind had switched now from northwest. I thought he was going to walk right into the wind. The does turned and headed northeast, and I'm like, well, then he's going to follow them. But instead, he cut left, and he started moving off to my left, and I was like, well, where's he going? So I was watching with binoculars, and I lost him. So for 5 minutes, I'm like, where is he? Where is he? I'm all panicking. I'm like, then I started thinking, he's not out there. He's not going out the other end. If he's not going out the other end, he's got to be coming this way. So I started getting ready, and then I hear this, and I'm like, oh, I was just like, that is so close. I'm like, he's coming right under me, and I'd watched his trail all night. You know, I'd keep watching to see if he's coming, and I couldn't see him. Somehow he got across that trail and got up right underneath me, and he was grunting at a small buck, and that one ran in front of him, ran off into the cattails, just scared. And this guy just started walking. I'm like, I had ranged the 40-yard trail, and that's all night long. I'm gonna shoot him at 40 yards. Here he comes at 20, walking right underneath me. I'm like, this is gonna be a chip shot. So I looked at my camera. I'm like, I'm not turning it on. Here he is. So I waited. He gets right up there, and I draw back, and he's just walking. And I slowly talked myself into making sure my fletching touched my chin, got everything calm, put it on him, and I went, Mac. And I seen him stop, and I just put it right on behind his shoulder, let her go, and smack, I hear the arrow just drill him, and he spun to his left, and right away, I mean, he didn't make one bound.
and he was down on his knees, and he's just giving her, and he's back up, and he's down again. I'm like, oh, he's hit so hard. He stops at like 30 yards, and I saw a flash, and I'm like, he went down right there. I knew he went down, so.
Well, thanks for sharing your story with us, Mike.
Oh, no problem.
We appreciate it, and I know the viewers like that as well. Gives us something to look at during the off season. There he is. Did you name this deer?
Call him the Giant.
The Giant. Oh. How did you come up with that name?
Midwest Whitetail is brought to you by Realtree, Hoyt, Muddy Outdoors, Bad Boy Buggies, Fuse Accessories, Keystone Country Store, Thompson Center, and Nikon.